All right.
Hello,
Good
everyone.
evening, everyone. Oops, go ahead, Dr.
Yeah,
Farmer.
I
I was
was
going
like,
to introduce you.
yeah, I'm just saying hello, everyone.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good evening, everyone. We are here for the Meet the IDEA Committee. So you're going to hear from the committee who is largely present. And I'm going to introduce Dr. Antoinette Farmer, who is the Associate Dean for IDEA. And she's going to take it away here.
Hello, everyone. My name is Dr. Antoinette Farmer. I'm professor and associate dean for diversity, equity, and inclusion at the School of Social Work. And now I'll have the members of the IDEAL committee. And IDEAL stands for inclusion, intersectionality, diversity, equity, and advancement. And so let's start with the faculty first, and then we'll start with our student representatives.
Hi, I'm Edward Alessi. I'm an associate professor at Rutgers University, and I am currently the MSW director, as well as a member of the IDEA committee. Hello and welcome. Hand it off to Elsa.
Okay,
Valerio.
that makes sense. Good afternoon. I'm Elsa Candelario. I'm a professor of professional practice here at the school. I'm also the director of the LISTA certificate program and a member of the IDEA committee. Happy to serve with folks who are on this call. Looking forward to hearing from our students as well. And I will hand it over to Dr. Battle.
Thank you very much. Dwayne Battle, teaching professor and director of our undergraduate program, and both in Camden and New Brunswick, and an inaugural member of the IDEA committee. And so I'm looking forward to this conversation with members of the committee as well as our students. And I'm going to hand it off to Christine Morales, Professor Morales.
Thank you. Hi, as Dr. Vettel said, it's your girl, Christine Morales, and teach environmental justice and diversity and oppression, and I'm a member of IDEA, so I'm glad to be serving with all of my esteemed colleagues and our students as well. And on that, I will hand it over to Valentina.
Hello, everyone. My name is Valentina Gill. I am the new traditional representative for the IDEA committee. I'm a MSW student advanced standing, and I'm doing my specialization in management and policy. A little bit about me: the population I want to work with is migrants, undocumented immigrants, refugees, and asylees. And I'm currently placed at the Department of Human Services, Office of Research and Evaluation, where I'm doing research on that particular population as well as the Hispanic population. So thank you for having me. Aaliyah, yeah.
Hi, everyone. My name is Alia Zarwi. I am the non-traditional student representative for the IDEA committee. This is my last year in the MSW program, and I'm a fully online student. Along with being on the IDEA committee, I'm also on the curriculum committee. I'm also helping Dr. Battle with some of his work with the undergraduates. I'm a GSA co-chair, and I work at the REV. I'm part of the certificate program, Certificate for Interpersonal Violence and Trauma, and I'm also a research assistant over there at the center. I'm very happy to be here.
And now I'd like Hannah Lockman to introduce herself.
Hi, everyone. I'm Hannah. I am a proud 2022 graduate of the social work program. And when I began the program in 2020, I was selected as a student assistant to Dr. Farmer. And I have been working with her ever since on all things DEI at the School of Social Work, leading the inaugural annual report, creating a progress report, conducting analyses, you name it, we're moving it forward. And I'm so excited for this year's IDEA committee.
Well, I thank everyone for introducing themselves. So let me tell you a little bit about the IDEA committee. As I mentioned earlier, IDEA stands for inclusion, intersectionality, diversity, equity, and advancement. When the school undertook its strategic planning process in 2019, it established the IDEA committee, along with establishing a position in the school for the associate dean for diversity, equity, and inclusion. And I had the honor and pleasure of being the inaugural associate dean for diversity, equity, and inclusion. The IDEA committee is chaired by me, and the IDEA committee is made of tenured track faculty, non-tenured track faculty, student representatives from the PhD, the MSW, the DSW, the BSW program. And for the MSW program, those individuals could be from the traditional program. When we talk about the traditional program, we talk about our on-the-ground program. When we talk about the non-traditional program, we talk about individuals who can be in our blended program, our intensive week written program, or our fully online program. We also have staff on the IDEA committee as well. The staff, the faculty, and students are all elected to be on the IDEA committee. At the time this committee was established, the dean charged us with 3 charges. One was to come up with a conceptual framework that would guide the work of the school and our work with the community partners to further inclusion, intersectionality, diversity, equity, and advancement. And the model we chose was Dr. Barbara Love's Liberatory Consciousness Framework. Some of you will have probably heard about this framework in your courses, and some of you will also hear about this framework in your field settings because your learning contract has competencies and behaviors that you need to engage in the field setting. Dr. Barbara Love's Liberatory Consciousness Framework, as we refer to it as the 4 A's, consists of awareness, analysis, action, accountability, and allyship. Although when you see in diagrams at the school, it looks like a linear process, it is not, because you can be in the action stage of the process and then discover some new information that will get you back into the awareness stage. So it's awareness, and at the awareness stage, you become aware of those things that happen in society, or even in a school or social work, or in the school setting where you may be doing your field placement, that may cause oppression or discrimination against individuals or groups of families. That is the awareness stage. And when you become aware, you may become aware of policies and procedures that may be causing this oppression. And then you start to go into the analysis phase. In the analysis phase, what you're doing is analyzing those policies and wondering, what about these policies are causing this oppression? And once you analyze those policies, then perhaps you go into some action, such as maybe want to revise those policies. But again, in the revision of those policies, you become aware of the institutional factors that may have caused these policies to manifest itself the way it's manifesting currently. And you did not have that information when you begin to start analyzing and taking some action on revising those policies. But by that example, you can see that the Liberatory Consciousness Framework is not a linear model. There's opportunities for you to go back and forth at different stages of the model. In my example, I talked about how I was at the action step, and I had to go back to the awareness step. And then another A in the model is this accountability and allyship. The accountability part in the allyship may manifest itself as I and others in a room saying we were going to get together and build a coalition to address this issue. Or it may be that we say we are not the ones that should be engaging in the action, but I will partner with someone or some agency that can engage in the identified effort in a manner that's going to be more effective than I would do it if I'm by myself. So that is the liberatory consciousness framework, which again, I said we refer to it as the 4 A's: the awareness, the analysis, the action, the accountability, and allyship. The second charge of the committee is to continue to think about an ever-evolving plan so that we can really assess all that we're doing in the school and in the field agencies where you have your field placement to ensure that we are furthering inclusion, intersectionality, diversity, equity, and advancement. And the third charge for the committee was to identify issues in the school, in the community, and also for your field placements where there may be barriers to enhancing inclusion, intersectionality, diversity, and advancement. And so you will see, if you go to our website, we have a link in our website, the Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion website for the School of Social Work. There's a link where you can send in information about things you think that we should address. For example, we had a student representative from the master's program last year on this committee who was taking a Research 2 course. And that individual noticed that the picture in the course was not representative of the principles of IDEA. So that student brought that to our attention, and we were able to change that image that was in that course shell. So anyone's taking Research 2 now, you would just see that we had the words up there, Research Method 2. We do not have an image because that image didn't really reflect the principles of IDEA. At this time, I will turn it over to my colleagues on the committee to say something that perhaps that I have missed. And at that time, and after they will speak, then I will turn it over to the students to ask us questions. Well, I'll continue then. One thing we have done as an IDEA committee, because we believe in transparency, we have developed an annual report, which is on our website. And that annual report starts July 1st of 2022 and will end on June 2023. And in that report, we let our constituents know where we are making progress on the goals for IDEA that were identified in the school strategic planning process. We also let you know how we are progressing on the school's diversity, equity, and inclusion strategic plan. Last year, the university undertook a DEI strategic planning process and asked all schools, all units within the university to develop a diversity inclusion strategic plan, which is also on our website and also in our annual report. The annual report that we have developed is sent to all students, all staff, all faculty, all alumni, and also all deans and directors of schools of social work across the nation. You will hear more from the IDEA committee as we continue to plan and address the goals that are identified in the school strategic plan, as well as the goals that the dean may have for the committee this year. Now open the floor for students to ask questions.
I sort of have a question.
Yes.
I remember that for the first committee meeting that we had, we read a report. And one of the things that I found the most interesting was talking about how the culture played such a role in these conversations of DEI and such. So can you name any like particular sort of plans or actions that have been taken to make the Rutgers community a more welcoming culture? Because I know that one of the main reasons why I decided to run for this role was because my friends and I have experienced like explicit racism on campus, and some remarks have been made. And I know that it's not just a singular experience. There's been like eggings and anti-Semitism and all these different things. So I'm just curious if we could talk about the culture and what's being done to address that.
Anyone want to answer that question before I jump in?
So I'll step in and just, first of all, thank you, Dean Farmer, and committee members. We were quiet, I believe, because you did such a thorough job of covering, the short history of IDEA, and I want to talk about, Valentina. Your question is such a good question, and the goal is to create a culture of inclusion. And it cuts across every level of what we do as really as a university, but more specific to the School of Social Work as a school. And I can give you maybe a specific response, but before I do that, I just want to say that this committee really represents that, because of the fact that we have staff, students, faculty, all of whom have an equal voice in the process, and Dean Farmer's gone out of her way to make sure that that's represented. So I think that's creating a space of inclusion. It's the only committee that I sit on that has that range of inclusion. I chair a curriculum committee where we have students and faculty who have an equal voice, but staff, broadly speaking, are not a part of that. So this committee represents inclusion, and in our own curriculum, we have an explicit, and an implicit curriculum, and we're looking at in our implicit curriculum the things that we do in the delivery of our explicit curriculum, those things that are captured in the syllabus, the things that we do to create a sense of belonging and a sense of inclusion. And so I think that's really intentional. Hopefully it will spread. I know it's happening in other parts of the university, but hopefully it will spread, in every area of the life of Rutgers University. Great question.
And Valentina, I want to say several things. One is that the sense of belonging is, I think, a priority for the president, because again, my understanding is the president is really concerned about the student experience. Another thing is that we, in our documents and our discussion last year, we talked about the need for students to be more aware of the bias reporting system. There had been breakdowns in the communication around bias reporting in the school, in the university, and also students were aware of the reporting system. The reporting system has now been revised, and on the school's websites, we have a designated place where students can report bias incidents. Those bias incidents are investigated by a committee within the university. Also, one of the priorities from the university strategic plan was that we would build infrastructure for change. And another priority was we need to build a culture of leaders that can build an inclusive environment. And so in the school's DEI plan, we have put into place a goal to do that, but an action step. And that action step is to provide training for those in leadership. So they have the skills and knowledge and competencies to build an inclusive climate. And we're talking about training for the deans, the associate deans, program directors, center directors, and student leaders, so they can gain the skills, knowledge, and competencies to build an inclusive environment. So again, issues of belonging are on the university's radar. And we know that the sense of belonging is so important because the sense of belonging also affects students' mental health. Studies have shown that when students don't feel that they belong on a college campus, they have reported having depression, anxiety, and they also drop out of the university. So we know that if the sense of belonging is not addressed, it has negative consequences. And also the sense of belonging is also related also to the campus climate. You mentioned some of the behaviors that are occurring in the campus climate. We know discrimination, racism, sexism, ageism, all are part of the cultural climate at a university that really impacts sense of belonging, and in turn, sense of belonging affects mental health. So there's the direct relationship between the campus of a climate, and there's an indirect relationship between campus and the climate and outcomes. And there's also direct connection between that sense of belonging. So what we do at the School of Social Work should enhance the overall climate at the school, an overall sense of belonging, and the overall sense of student, faculty, and staff wellness.
Thank you so much for that answer.
You're welcome. Anyone has another question?
I guess just a brief follow-up. I didn't even know that that there was a bias reporting system. Can that be found through the university's website, or is it exclusive to the School of Social Work's website?
It's just on the university website. And Hannah, could you pull up where it is? School of Social Work website.
And I was just reading the comment in the chat about the diversity of the committee being representative of our mission of inclusivity and belonging. So I think that's really important. And then to add to that, we also want people, Valentina, to feel safe and protected, and people should feel safe when on the campus and also protected, that they know they can reach out for help. So it's a really good point.
Okay. Hannah,
So,
could you?
yeah,
go
Dr.
ahead.
Farmer, I figured it would be helpful to be like on the homepage of the school's DEI and IDEA resources and engagement. And when you go down to the resources and engagement, it'll take you to DEI student resources where there's bias reporting, amongst other things.
Okay, thank you so much. I'll make sure to share that with my fellow students.
Yeah, and so it tells you the process is here, tells the goals of the committee, and the membership of the committee as well. has another question or concern? I like what you wrote in on the chat. We are here. We are here for you, and that's important to know that this committee is here for you, and that's why we have a link where any student can send a message, and that message only goes to me, and I will respond to you. And if there's an issue that's appropriate, it's brought up to the IDEA committee, because we are charged with identifying those areas that are preventing us for having inclusion, intersectionality, diversity, equity, and advancement at the school. And so we take that information and we talk to the persons in administration, we talk to faculty, and then we come up with a solution to address that issue that's been identified. And Hannah has put that email address in the chat. Thank you so much, Hannah. Any other questions? Each semester has scenes that we have been hosting forums for students where students can come and meet the members of the IDEA committee. In the spring of the year, this is the time where we talk about our progress we have made towards the goals that we have identified to work on during this academic year. And it's also a time for us to talk about the goals we plan for the upcoming year. And at those forums, we also listen to students to give us feedback on how we can make the experience at the school and at the university a better experience for you. So please tell your classmates that the IDEA committee is here to listen to you. We value your input. And please read the annual reports and the school strategic planning plans and the school's DEI plans, because this year we are in the implementation phase of the school's DEI plan. That plan, which was written last year, was approved by the Division of Inclusion and Community Engagement. It was also reviewed by the Chancellor Provost, Dr. Fran Conway. And so we are looking for feedback from you as students as we implement this plan, how we can make those things better for you at the school, and also for the clients and families that you serve at the agencies. And when you lead this program, it's important for you to think about yourself as leaders who can build an inclusive environment in the agencies where you will be working, or maybe you'll be leading. I see that Elsa said she has to leave now. So thank you for coming. Any other questions, concerns?
I don't have a question or concern, but I did want to say this, I think for the benefit of students that might be looking at the recording, that to go back to where we started this conversation, Dean Farmer, with your discussion about liberatory consciousness, that we went through training, that Barbara Love came to our school and helped us to become better, more familiar with and better equipped to use the liberatory consciousness framework, and that we are making efforts to include it in our curriculum as well as in other areas of the life of the school. And so students will be seeing liberatory consciousness, and we have added a competency in our school, so that we'll actually be able to evaluate the job that we're doing in delivering the liberatory consciousness framework, in particular in the curriculum. So I think that's important for students to know. They'll have a chance to see it, to utilize it, and as we consider ourselves to be lifelong learners in social work, it's a tool that can be used throughout one's academic and professional career.
And I forgot to mention, thank you, Dr. Battle. I forgot to mention that in the annual report, we have an insert that clearly articulates the liberatory consciousness framework. And I ask that you look at that annual report so you can see that insert. Any further questions, concerns? If not, I guess that is it for us today. I thank those who were in attendance, and I ask you to share this information with your colleagues in the School of Social Work. Thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to join the IDEA committee members. We appreciate this, we value your time, and we look forward to shaking your hands when you cross the stage in May of 2023 as graduates from Rutgers School of Social Work.
Goodbye, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you, Dr. Farmer.